By now, maybe you've seen that Trump was meeting with the president of Liberia, and he said this.
Well, thank you, and such good English, such beautiful. Where did you learn to speak so beautifully?
Okay, so not only is that just ignorant, racist, it's also just historically a very stupid thing to say, and I want to explain why. The modern country of Liberia was literally founded by a private kind of organization supported by the US government. Formed in 1816, the American Colonization Society was founded by people who thought that the best way to deal with Black people living in the United States was to get them out of here and send them, quote, back to Africa. Now, they focused on free Black people who volunteered to leave. And it was mostly founded by Quakers who sort of best intentions were like, well, we want them to have the best opportunity for freedom and equality, and we think that's going to be over in Africa, not here. There's problems with that, but still. But also, obviously, racists and enslavers and other groups that just didn't want free Black people roaming around, they also were like, yeah, send them over there. So in 1822, they started shipping over Black Americans who volunteered to go and settle and found the colony of Liberia. And I want to be super clear about this. If you remember from your American history class, like the Virginia colony that was like a joint stock company that got a charter from the king to go and found Jamestown, it's 100% the same thing. It's what's happening here. You have Black Americans going and settling and colonizing a place where there are already people living there. So where Liberia is today, it was known then as the Pepper Coast, and it had been inhabited by people for a very long time, but we know historically, at least going back to the 12th century, as especially the kingdoms, the kind of gold salt kingdoms of Ghana and then Mali and Songhai started to collapse, desertification kicked in, and people started to head toward the west coast of Africa where the land was better. This, by the way, is one of the other reasons why there was so much sort of chaos and ethnic violence and territorial wars in West Africa right at the time when a lot of Europeans were looking for a source of slavery. So they found this colony. They bring with them English, they bring with them Protestant Christianity, this sort of Republican idea of government, like a republic. And by 1847, about 25 years later, they issue a Declaration of Independence. They settle on principles within like a constitution similar to the United States. And in doing so, they have basically taken white Protestant English-speaking society and colonized it and put it on top of indigenous society. Now, white people in the United States don't really see it that way because to them in the 1800s, they're all Black people. So why can't they all just kind of unite and get along? Some of the Black settlers did mix, they did marry with indigenous people, but for the most part, it was just really difficult, right? They speak different languages in the same way that a lot of the borders that were drawn on Africa later didn't really make a lot of sense. This one didn't really either. But all of that is to say, for the president of the United States to tell the president of Liberia that he's surprised he speaks really good English is not only racist, it's also just historically so dumb.